Oh, it has been an evening. Hello, welcome to Total Spotfest. As you can see, I am JJ. That is Austin, and that's all we got tonight.
Yeah, we're missing our resident shit starter, so I guess we're just gonna agree on everything and wrap this up in about 25
Yeah,
minutes.
that's gonna be quickest episode ever. No, Jamie had a softball thing. It was taking a little bit longer, and then there was a wreck on the highway coming back, and he just screw it. Meanwhile, I've been having computer problems the whole time, so it was a blessing in disguise, isn't it? But anyway, we are here. Hello and welcome and hello. But yeah, this is Total Spot Fest. If it's your first time here, hello. Hit that like button down below, hit the follow, let you know when we go live. Austin, how the hell are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Narrowly avoided a twister situation coming back from a lucha show Saturday night.
Oh shit.
We wrestled down in Garden City, Kansas, which if you're unfamiliar, and why would you really be familiar? It's largely in the middle of nowhere, kind of southwest corner of Kansas for Southwest Kansas Independent Lucha Libre. Had a nice fun show, outdoor show. We get there during the day, a little hot outside, kind of cooled off in the evening. Nice night for some outdoor wrestling. Towards the end, rain starts coming in, storm starts rolling in, and we figure we might as well hit the old dusty trail back to the sprawling metropolis of Wichita, Kansas. And along the way, it's storming pretty hard. There's lightning everywhere. I'm checking the weather app, just making sure everything's okay. And then I see tornado warning, Northeast Gray County, Kansas. And I was like, I should probably look where that is. That seems
you no idea what those counties are down there.
It was right where we were driving through. So I'm like, all right, tornado warning. That means the conditions are there. There's swirling clouds. Whether or not there's a touchdown, we don't know. But the way we figured it, if we pull over and sit still, are we any less likely to get hit by now you're just trusting the universe and waving your way through the weather. Yeah, a lot of lightning, a lot of rain. Fortunately, did not see or pass a tornado, and made it back after a fun night of some lucha wrestling. Well,
I am not a meteorologist, ladies and gentlemen, okay? But I will say is if you're on the highway, there's a tornado warning for your immediate area, you're going like 70, 75 miles an hour. That storm is moving at about 50 max, right? So in theory, you should be able to, as long as you're not driving toward the tornado, you should be fine. So,
yeah, like I figured if we keep moving, we're harder to hit. Moving target, kind of like an alligator. You got to zigzag, which we were going straight on the highway. Do not zigzag on the highway, people. That's
don't do
not
that.
Safe driving.
Nope.
But yeah, we made it through just fine. So I guess our theory stood to just keep driving and hope for the best.
Yep. And we have not written Jamie off, Heather. He's just not going to be here tonight. He's probably still somewhere out on the highway. So there's like the whole highway was shut down wherever he was. So, anyway, anybody listening that's not from the Midwest is just like, what the hell you guys like? How can you like? I remember so when I sold timeshare, my boss at the time, he actually was moving to the region, but he was from Portland. Okay, Oregon. And he always talk about the weather out here because out there they have, it rains a good amount, but they have pretty temperate climate throughout the year, right? He comes out in the middle of summer and he's like, what is with this humidity? And I go, summer? What do you mean? And then he's like, these tornadoes. So like, there's a tornado last night. He's like, how did you guys not know there was a tornado last night? Like, I don't know, if it's not right on me and it's not above an EF2, I don't even get out of bed. I mean,
if I don't hear the sirens go off, I'm not sweating it. Like there is a warning system in place.
Yeah. And the sirens go off. It's like, where exactly is it? Let me pull up my map. Oh, that's on the other side of the county. I'm fine.
Yeah, like we got a basement. Like it'll probably be okay.
See, that's one thing I don't have a basement, but it is what it is. Well, let's talk a little wrestling. How about that?
let's
Okay,
let's jump right into some wrestling. There's been a lot of wrestling.
There's been a lot of wrestling. There was a pay-per-view this weekend, Money in the Bank. I actually did not watch Money in the Bank. I literally totally forgot about it till like midnight on Saturday. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, Money in the Bank happened. I did not watch it live. I went back and watched everything except for the main event, which I meant to get around to. I just got busy and never did. But
it happens.
It's a 3-on-3. Like, okay, it's the main event was the most skippable part of that paper. It's Money in the Bank. You're there to see the ladder matches.
You see 2 matches, right?
2 matches, both of which I thought were very good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the women's. Like
Tiffy time, man. Tiffy time's in full gear, yo.
We've talked a lot about how AEW does not miss with the women's gimmick matches, and I think it's somehow forced WWE to be a little bit more like I don't know for a fact whether or not this was like a corporate thing where they didn't let the women get too crazy and some of that stuff in the past. But they were taking some bumps in that match. There was some nasty bumps in the good way. Like there was some stuff that looked a little off and like, oh, that might have like hurt pretty bad. But they were taking more risks than you normally see out of WWE's gimmicky kind of stuff. So that was good to see. Premium live event, they're calling them these days. Still following the format of giving you about an hour and a half of wrestling in a 3-hour show. Could have done with like one more match. I don't need a full slate. I get that in AEW. I enjoyed that. I think 5 is a little light with nothing going over 17.
I mean, but you got John Cena announcing his retirement after next year's
his retirement tour.
After next year's WrestleMania. I'm retiring after WrestleMania next year. Like,
and not only that, he said it would just be his last WrestleMania, but he is going to probably work the entire year. Which cool. I like John Cena. It'll be cool. Although he's got to cut the hair. Like go back to the buzz cut with a little bit on top because like the weatherman hair with the bald spot in the back is just like that's not how you want to see John Cena.
No, it's not. And yeah, so Mommy is back. Mommy came back last night, or not last night, but Monday night on Raw. I really like what they're doing with the whole Liv Morgan and Dominic story, you know? At least because Dominic's so repulsive, right? He's got that overness for the heel. I think it works great. So, but no. I don't know if she's back, but she's back at least on programming. I don't know if she's cleared to wrestle or not.
I would assume if they've got her showing up now, she's at least going to be ready to wrestle by SummerSlam. They do this sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They did this when Cena, going back to Big Match John Cena, when he was a surprise entrance in the 2008 Royal Rumble. He wasn't like fully cleared yet, but they got him in the Rumble, and then he didn't wrestle again until Mania. I would assume if she's not fully cleared, she's on track to be ready to go by SummerSlam, and we will likely get some kind of like tag at SummerSlam, so she doesn't have to carry a full match yet coming back from an injury. But that seems, and it's good to see Rhea Ripley back.
Yeah, it's always good to see her back.
Especially, actually, you know what? I think the injury, like, you never want anybody to get injured. I don't want to like.
I'm glad you hurt yourself.
I feel bad saying the injury was a good thing, but I think it helped. I think Rhea from last year's Mania had a really strong run. Judgment Day was starting to kind of overstay its welcome a bit. They were just kind of running out of stuff to do with her. So I think having a couple months away, got that huge pop coming back, that's always good.
Yeah.
I did not see Raw, but I did actually watch SmackDown last Friday, and that was an enjoyable 2 hours of pro wrestling TV.
I think it's because it's 2 hours. Not going to lie. I mean, straight up. It's just a lot more swallowable. NXT's been good. SmackDown's good. Raw's just too damn long.
Yeah, like you also you got some wrestling for the sake of wrestling. They got a little time. They had Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly. They go to the ring. Commentary's putting it over as, hey, both these teams are just trying to get back to the top for a title shot. Cool. You got wrestlers wrestling, and you're giving me a reason why these people are wrestling. I'm already locked in. That's what I want on my wrestling show. So I might have to check out SmackDown a little bit more often because that was pretty solid.
Yeah. Well, announced today, another interesting thing is we're talking about the Fed stuff. So interestingly enough, there was an announcement by CMLL. They have a joint show this weekend with New Japan over in California. And it said for personal reasons, they're stripping, she's not going to be able to make it and she can't uphold her whatever. But there's basically stripping Stephanie Vaquer of all her titles. So the CMLL title and the tag title that she's a part of. Like, that's very interesting. And then the rumors started happening. And then the last I saw was from PW Insider saying that they confirmed. Now, I haven't seen this, but they said they confirmed that she signed with WWE.
Yeah,
which would make sense because if she signed with AEW, they wouldn't have stripped her of her titles and stuff.
Yeah, I think I've seen it now confirmed by pretty much everybody that does that sort of confirming.
Yeah.
I think Fightful tweeted out. I forget the rest of them. I kind of just lumped them all in together, but I've seen enough of them that it seems pretty much set in stone that she is going to WWE.
Which hey, that's a good thing because you got Julia and Stephanie Vaquer both in WWE, probably both in NXT, more than likely. She's going to go to NXT.
Yes. And we were talking about this while we were waiting for Jamie earlier before we decided to just soldier on with the two of us. I saw a tweet earlier where someone was real hype about getting a Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer match in NXT. And I saw a reply from someone else saying it happened once and it stunk. So while we were waiting on Jamie earlier, I brought up YouTube where most things you want to see happen to live. And I caught Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia, and it did not stink. It was a pretty good match. So I'm looking forward to that. The jokes are all over the internet and not without merit, but I just hope she doesn't end up in the LWO.
I mean, there's a reason we make that joke because it is still WWE. So at the end of the day,
they just can't help it sometimes. They can't help
themselves. Who knows?
I don't know if she goes to NXT first. I don't know if it'll work out because Asuka is already over 40 and is working through a major injury right now. So who knows how much longer she's going to be around. But I would love to see her and Asuka.
Yeah, and I sometimes forget about that. That Asuka is like you don't think about it, but then it's like, oh, yeah, she's been wrestling forever.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah.
So
she's gonna end up being like the women's Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Like she'll just never go away. Not that I want her to. Yeah. Asuka rules.
I really wonder because there wasn't a ton of buzz on Stephanie Vaquer until after Forbidden Door, right? She showed out on Forbidden Door. Everybody knew it, right? Did that catch Hunter's eye? I don't know, but good for her.
Yeah. I mean, I'd find it hard to believe they weren't aware of her and didn't know what she could do, but timing wise, someone gets a huge marquee match like that in front of a large audience and kills it. Like that's a good time to snatch them up. They got some buzz behind them.
Yeah.
Because I think if it would have been announced before Forbidden Door, obviously Forbidden Door wouldn't have happened. But without that happening, I think if you saw Stephanie Vaquer signs with WWE, your really hardcore women wrestling fans would be like, "That's dope." Like, but I think your general audience would be less aware of her. Like, so, good on WWE.
Yeah,
yeah. Strike while the iron's hot.
Absolutely. Do you have anything else you want to get into, Fed wise?
Yeah, so something Heather mentioned, she predicted Drew cashing in and getting screwed by Punk. I predicted the same thing, and this was one of those few times, and I'll expand on this later when we get into some stuff that happened at AEW Night. This is one of those few times where the predictable thing is the best way to go. I saw a lot of people getting salty about that, like they wasted the Money in the Bank. They've been wasting the Money in the Bank for the better part of the last decade.
Yes.
Otis won it, and then just lost it to Miz. Like Austin Theory won it and just cashed it on a U.S. title shot
because right.
Damian Priest finally cashed it in at Mania. We'll pretend it wasn't because Punk got hurt and Punk was supposed to win at Mania and like they were just gonna push it off anyway. But even then, like we were joking about it for weeks where Seth Rollins is literally in the middle of the ring, like I am too injured to compete. And the guy with the briefcase didn't walk down and be like, well, too bad. We got a match right now. I guess you forfeit and I'm the champion. They have been wasting Money in the Bank forever. This was a good way not to have that weird loose end you have no actual plans for the next year or so.
I mean, as much as I hate the kind of inevitability of like they're gonna have a same night cash in, right? When the first couple times it happened, it was like, oh shit, that's amazing, right? You know, I remember when Alexa did it, it was like, you know, piss my pants, cool as hell,
yeah.
Right? And now it just seems like, yeah, one of them was gonna cash in. Yep, there it is. Okay, but I'm with you. I'd rather they just get it off the table than have it be a nothing that hangs around for the next however.
Yeah. Especially you are very likely crowning Gunther at Mania. Or not Mania, SummerSlam. He's probably going to carry that through Mania. Barring injury or unforeseen.
I mean, I don't know what else you would do with that if you're not going to have him carry it around to Mania because that. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So.
Like, and I mean, no one's cashing in on Cody. Like,
no.
they're clearly waiting for The Rock to come back around.
And then eventually Roman, and then
like let's not have someone run around like an idiot just carrying a stupid briefcase for the next 9 months.
Remember when Brock Lesnar won it, turned into a boombox?
One day we'll have to have Jamie here for this because I think we each need to take a turn doing our own personal Mount Rushmore of the worst things WB has ever done storyline wise.
That's gonna take a while.
Not other things. But on my Mount Rushmore, one of those spots is reserved, and I've brought this up in the past, for Brock Lesnar winning the Money in the Bank when he wasn't in the damn match to begin with. And the fact that no one else ever did that again. Like, apparently that's okay. Why doesn't the entire roster spill out and someone just come grab the briefcase every year? Because apparently you could just do that.
Apparently that briefcase is 100% possession is 100% of the law. Apparently.
That was years and years and years ago. And it's that. And then I think we just brought it up a couple weeks ago talking about the Uncle Howdy's and all that.
Yep.
The DQ and the Hell in the Cell. Like, those are 2 of my 4 on the dumbest things WWE has ever done.
We'll put a pin in that because that'll take a while to get to. So
yeah, we'll bring Jamie. We'll
have Jamie here for that as well too. Let's talk about Dynamite, man. So Calgary Stampede week. You know, they had the finals of the Owen Hart Tournament, and I mean the Dynamite going into it felt like it was going to be a big night, right? Because you got the Owen. You didn't really have a ton of stuff planned, but I don't think you needed to. They were really hinging a lot on the Owen and then building up for All In. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
You want to just go through it, or you want to bounce around? What do you want to do?
Let's go straight through.
All right. So starts with Ospreay coming out. Now on Saturday, MJF came out, and he's got his dark variant Burberry sweater, the black and gray Burberry instead of the typical tartan of Burberry. So kudos to that. And basically says, you know, all the heel things you need to, right? So this is Will Ospreay beginning. He's retorting, you know, to him. And it was a good little back and forth setting it up. And they actually had a little video promo at the end with MJF to set up a match for the international title next week. Did not expect that to be my next week opening match, honestly.
Yeah, they're getting to that real quick, which is
real.
And we've talked about this over the last few weeks. They're kind of just throwing curveballs at you left and right. They've become pretty unpredictable. And we'll get this with the match that follows shortly. I'll got a little bit more on that. But yeah, they're just when you think they're going one way, they go another way. I don't think the fact that this match is happening next week necessarily means it's not happening at All In. But man, this is the kind of shit that makes you want to keep tuning in each week to watch. Like I don't remember the last time in wrestling where you literally don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And you also care what's going to happen. Like you actually want to tune in and find out. It's not, oh, don't know, don't care. It's, oh shit, I got to tune in next week.
Because of what they did later on in the show, I'm positive that this match isn't going to be happening per se at All In. But it's like we talked about this with Ospreay and Swerve. That they got to that a lot faster than we thought they should have, or that many people were thinking they would have, and same thing here. They're kind of moving that along. Now, it's said that Tony's got like the next several pay-per-views planned out, right? He's got the basic outline of what, the main story points he wants to progress for the next couple pay-per-views. So there's definitely a plan. You're not going to not see MJF and Will Ospreay in London. Maybe not in the same match, which will be interesting. So,
yeah. And what a way to get people to tune in next week.
I mean, yeah, it's a 250th episode, which is a nice little, thing. So 250th episode, and they're going to open with that match. So let's go.
We're in like a not weird. I mean, it's great, but like a run of them making Dynamite feel special. Last week was the beach break presented by Shark Week, which is always a good time.
In Chicago, Illinois.
We had the Calgary Stampede edition tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We get 250 next week. Way to make your weekly TV feel special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not always the biggest fan of like the namings of it, but like tonight did actually have an official name, but it was part of the Calgary Stampede, which everybody north of the border is very well familiar with. It's a massive time, right? Calgary is like the Dallas of Canada. And it's like in Dallas, they have the Texas State Fair, right? It's huge. It's massive. They have the Red River rivalry during that time period, because it's the same sort of thing. So, well, we do know who's going to be facing off Swerve, because immediately after this, they had the men's final of the Owen Hart. Bryan Danielson going up against Adam Hangman Page with the special guest enforcer, because Tony Khan definitely listens to this show, and he knows that Austin Reddick needs to see Jeff Jarrett on his TV.
As often as possible. And if you need an enforcer for your match, Jeff Jarrett's the guy to call. Not only an enforcer, as we saw, he popped off the original shirt.
He's a ref.
Also the backup referee.
So, match was very good, as we knew it would be, right? They go back and forth, back and forth. They got a lot of time to kind of go at it, too.
Yeah, we only ended up getting 4 matches on Dynamite tonight, but one took the better part of the first hour. And it was, if you were going to give 30 minutes to a match, like this was a good one.
I mean, this felt pay-per-view quality. And I think Hanger and Danielson wrestled at a pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. At least one of their matches they did.
I think so. I know they did one of the Winter is Coming Dynamites.
Yeah.
And I think they did a pay-per-view one as well. But yeah, this made the Owen feel like a big deal. This made main eventing All In for the title feel like a big deal. Like they were wrestling like there were stakes. And when that's happening, wrestling's always better.
Yeah. Both make it bloody. It's just, you know, you're worried about Danielson's neck, and then like the shot that the original ref took looked fantastic too, by the way. Like, I love it when it's always great, as the mark to see a ref get taken out in spectacular fashion, right? The way they sell it, it was just fantastic the way that was done.
Yeah. This match in general, like the booking of the match was phenomenal. It has been rumored for the longest time that we might get Bryan Danielson and Nigel at All In. What happens right at the top of the show? They're like, oh, Taz has been banned by the EVPs. Nigel McGuinness is filling in this match. They're setting it up right there. Like you see it coming. They've been telling this story with Hanger's back to get Swerve. It all seems predictable until it's not.
Until Bryan Danielson gets the victory.
And this is I even wore the shirt this week because I'm gonna drop a little knowledge on this.
Let's get some knowledge in this.
And it's gonna tie into, like I said, I put a pin in it during when we were talking about Money in the Bank a little bit. You had Drew winning Money in the Bank, cashing the same night, and getting screwed by Punk was predictable. And it was one of those times where predictable works because you have your top guy calling his shot, saying exactly what he's going to do. So you know that's probably going to happen. That was a good way to move that story along. And that was great. Sometimes the predictable thing is the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. But other times, like this time, it catches you by surprise. We all know Bryan Danielson said he doesn't want the title. We all know he said he's wrapping up in a couple months anyway.
Right.
Hanger just came back talking about how he wants Swerve, cutting a phenomenal promo, if you didn't see it on Collision, about kind of still filling us in a little bit more on his heel turn. That man broke into my house and y'all cheered him for it. Mm-hmm. He never got his payback for that, and y'all still cheer him for it. Set all that up. And then you've got Jeff Jarrett as a special enforcer. And anytime you've got a special enforcer to make sure that the bad guy doesn't do anything, 9 times out of 10, the bad guy still ends up winning because something happens. Like, everything was perfectly laid out for exactly what you thought was going to happen. And then out of nowhere, Bryan Danielson snatches that pin and he's going on to All In the main event. Sometimes with the stash of knowledge, I like to be a little bit of a hater, but sometimes I just got to tip the cap to just phenomenal booking. This is pro wrestling booking at its best. Like I was saying earlier, AEW has been on a little bit of a streak of not giving you exactly what you expected, but no matter which way they go, it's good. And I don't remember the last time I tuned in weekly interested to see what was going to happen outside of just watching the show and enjoying the matches and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But this was peak pro wrestling booking right here. Just point you in one direction, take you in the other direction. No matter where you end up, you're getting something great. So
fantastic.
I just had to point out just how excellent this was set up with Nigel out there, with the enforcer, with everything set up to make you think Hanger was winning that, and then Bryan Danielson still pulls it out.
I mean, the stash of knowledge doesn't have to be a bitch fest. It's fine.
Not always. Sometimes, but not tonight.
I mean, that's the way it should be, because especially if you are a fan of wrestling and you enjoy it, right? It's not always the most fun to be like, I know exactly what's going to happen every second. I could have guessed that. I could have figured that out. I knew that was going to happen. Sometimes you got to be like, what? That was coming off the heels of them announcing, oh, we're going to do MJF and Will Ospreay next week on Dynamite. Exactly. So now but it's now set. Now it's set. Your main event is Swerve versus Danielson. Swerve said he won that match. He won one more shot. He hasn't pinned him. He has a pinfall victory over Swerve. Danielson does. They're both from the, Seattle area, Pacific Northwest. Swerve comes out, cuts a little promo, talks about it, all that. Then he says a little bit about the EVPs and the Elite and all this. He says that he is going to be in Blood and Guts, but he is on Team AEW. He is the captain of AEW's team. And then he challenges Okada out of nowhere. And they're going to fight next week, by the way. I don't know if you saw that later on in the episode. But Because why not? Just why not? Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Like, man, next week is shaping up to be phenomenal. Going back to All In really quick. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Yes.
Do you think Hangman ends up in that title match as a triple threat?
I don't.
I would
I
like
think
to see
I
Swerve
think
and
he
Dragon
fights
one-on-one.
I think he fights Swerve 2 weeks later in Chicago.
That's fair. That was the only thing with the finish tonight's match, with Jeff Jarrett not being the official referee and him immediately going to the EVP's locker room and saying he's in because he originally wasn't going to be on their team for Blood and Guts.
He is now. Yep.
Maybe ask them for a favor.
It would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
I would still like to see just straight up Dragon versus Swerve, but I got an inkling that might end up happening. But again, like, there's a million directions they can go, and there's really not any bad ones.
Not really. I mean, if it's a three-way, so be it. It is what it is, right? Okay, cool. Right, fine, whatever. You know, personally, I would like to see it. I would like to see it be Swerve and Danielson, and then, like I said, 2 weeks later, All Out, you give Hanger his shot, right? They could be like, here's what we're gonna do. You get whoever wins that match in Chicago on the next pay-per-view.
Yeah,
That's
I would rather
personal.
see that than a triple threat.
It's just like, I think that, especially considering this is Danielson's swan song, right? I don't know if after All In he's done, or if it's sometime here this fall, whatever, right? But this is the biggest match he has left, right? At Wembley Stadium, all that stuff, right? One-on-one versus Swerve. I think that's a great way to go out, right? In a three-way, it's fine, but not as marquee in my head.
Yeah. Now over the last couple weeks, they have shaken up All In from what it looked like it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, we all thought we had this thing booked. We were like, but here's the card. Here it is right here. We've got it for you. And nope. Way off. Well,
that's the thing. So if MJF and Ospreay happens next week and they're done with that from there, what does Ospreay do at All In?
Well, I'll put a pin in that, because we had a match tonight that told us what he's going to do at All In. So you had the Acclaimed, had their little music video. They just can't put him on Blood and Guts team. Why
just announce him.
Why are we pussyfooting around? Okay, whatever. And then you had a match, and I use that word loosely, between Samoa Joe and Chris Jericho. A Stampede street fight, because it's their town for the Calgary Stampede. Yeah. There's a lot you can say on this. Brian Keith came out. No big bill, right? Keith came out. He almost immediately gets a tope suicida from Joe. Joe starts the match by taking Chris Jericho's cowboy hat and punching him in the face through it. Good stuff. They go to the back. That's where the fun really kicked in, because you get Big Bill coming out of the bathroom out of nowhere. They're jumping him. Then they put him on a forklift, casually positioned with an empty pallet already sitting on the forklift. Right? Put him and Keith put Joe on there, and Jericho drives him through a fucking wall.
And my favorite part about that is that was a wall that served no function. Yes. And clearly only existed in the building for that spot. Like, it wasn't even like attached to it. Was just a random.
It was random ass, like, residential metal studs and drywall, not tape, not mud, and not anything. That was 100% built 3 hours earlier.
And this was right up my alley. I love just inherently silly things in wrestling.
Yeah.
I also love street fights where everyone shows up in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, because it's a street fight, right?
Yes. But yeah, the wall that was clearly just constructed for the spot was just a great touch because it's one of those things that on its face should almost kind of like turn you off a little bit. Like, well, why would that be there? But it's one of those things that just works in pro wrestling. Like, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And yep, they just drive him right through the wall.
Hey, he's on a secure platform. He's going through gypsum board, drywall, He hasn't hit a stud. But, oh my God, it's so bad the refs have to call the match, right? But yes, he murders Samoa Joe on national TV, to Heather's point.
The one thing I didn't like, though, was them just casually announcing, well, Hook and Shibata aren't here tonight. Shouldn't y'all be there? Like, your boys in a street fight where the guys that are with the guys fighting will clearly be there and get involved.
Hook's not clear. They covered that because they jumped.
Oh, that's right. Hook's not clear. They just said Shibata wasn't there.
He's just not there.
At least tell me it's a visa issue. Like, hey, can't travel to Canada right now because of visa coming to the U.S. Give me some kind of
flight
excuse,
got delayed. I mean,
yeah,
he's got cold. Who cares? Right?
Minor thing, but either way, this was a fun. I don't want to quite call it a come down, but a nice change of pace after you got almost 40 minutes of Hanger and the American Dragon. Right. Here's Chris Jericho and Samoa Joe driving a forklift.
Well, you had 4 matches. You had the 2, and they were going to give the lion's share of the time to the 2 Owen Hart matches, right? You got to have a pace break it somewhere in there. That's what this was. Okay.
Absolutely.
Then they go into a 4-way match. The winner is going to get an international title shot, presumably at All In. So that's why I'm saying that's what they have planned. It was Pac, Kyle O'Reilly. We got too many Kyles. Kyle Fletcher, Claudio Castagnoli, and Tomohiro Ishii. Okay. Who you think was sticking out like a sore thumb, but it's Ishii. Nah.
Yeah. Which, like, I'm always excited to see Ishii on my TV. Love watching that man perform. But that kind of goes back to like Forbidden Door being less of a novelty because like it's been 2 weeks and they're still like he's still just hanging out.
He's just there. He's just there. He's just I'm here for a month. Put me to work. Yeah. Great spots. This match was so much fun. Just so much good fun back and forth. Kyle Fletcher looked amazing. He's got such a bright future ahead of him. My God. The sells he was doing and some of the stuff and the turnaround. I mean, we know what Pac can do. We know what Claudio can do. We've talked about it ad nauseum. But my God, give Kyle Fletcher some flowers because he deserves them.
If it's what you're leaning towards, which I don't think is incorrect, that the winner of this match will get their shot at All In, and they're going to do Pac and Ospreay at All In. Mm-hmm. Would you have rather seen Kyle Fletcher and Ospreay?
I would have, but I understand why they didn't do that. They're not ready to fully. That's a storyline they want to keep running out. The Don Callis family, and Kyle Fletcher, and they want to wait. I think that they're waiting for a point to where maybe Ospreay has the world title. Maybe it's at a different. I think that they got enough stuff going on here. They don't want that to get overshadowed. I think if they did that, it'd get overshadowed right now. Whereas if you look at this Pac and Ospreay, fuck yes. Both of the Englishmen in Wembley Stadium. Pac didn't get a chance to wrestle there last year, right? This is almost like main event 1B, and it's going to blow my eyeballs out of my sockets how good it's going to be. So it's totally fine to have that, but I think that the bigger story with Kyle Fletcher and the eventual fall from the Don Callis family for Fletcher, I think you're waiting on that. Now, I don't know if you're waiting for Mark Davis, maybe, because that might be the other shoe to drop. Maybe you're just waiting to give it so that it can have the main attention, is what my thought is, right? We don't want to take away from Swerve or Danielson or the women's stuff, right? You want that to be your main story. So maybe that's a winter thing. I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, I thought, I get that. I thought with already having a little bit of a built-in story and still having 6 weeks before All In, 7 weeks before All In, something like that. I thought that might be a good direction to go. But yeah, no one's sad about getting Pac and Ospreay at all. Assuming Ospreay beats MJF next week.
That's true, because I mean, it could be MJF versus Pac, and who knows, right?
Which is a less exciting match, to be fair.
I'm pretty confident it's going to be Ospreay. I think that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
So Mercedes Mone and Britt Baker did what they did last week again this week, but in reverse. So there's that.
And it wasn't any better this time around.
It served no purpose. It was literally the exact same thing, except it was Mercedes who was out there and Britt who came out. Instead of Britt being out there and then Mercedes.
Yeah.
We get it. We know. It's fine. You don't have to. It's like, I know. You stop. It's going to happen. Cool. I haven't forgot about any of these women. That's fine. What are we doing?
And Mercedes, like, I got extra security to make sure I'm not interrupted. Well, one, you did the interrupting last week. And two, you still got interrupted because Britt Baker just ran down and super kicked your ex. Like, this is just not hitting at all. The match will still be worth watching. But on a show where you were lighter on the number of matches, obviously one went almost 40 minutes. You had some more big marquee matches. This was an opportunity to get a good segment for this program, this story. And yeah, it was just more of last week and just as bad as last week's was.
Well, I mean, for what's worth, I didn't mind last week's. I thought that you needed to tell that story at some point, and they did. They told it last week. Okay? The problem I have with it is that it still feels like you're not getting a committed heel Mercedes, right? She showed these little flashes of being that heel. We're kind of tone deaf like Jericho, but also really arrogant, but then not. And it's like, just go all in, have her be full out, right? And I don't know. It's like, I didn't really, when she was in Japan, they don't really do a lot of like promo work, not like an American wrestling promotion does. So she was able to play the CEO character because there's very little in between that she did. I almost would rather have that. Like, don't have her say anything. Have her just appear, here and there. But I don't know. This was completely unnecessary for the feud, for tonight's TV show, just in general. Only purpose it served was to give them both TV time.
It's going back to what we were talking about leading into the double or not yet. It was double or nothing. Stokely should have gone with Mercedes Moné. She needs Stokely as a mouthpiece. That would make this be the CEO. Don't be the one that you don't have to do the talking. Have someone doing your talking for you. Just stand there and look better than everyone. Just stop handing her a microphone.
Yeah.
it's not going well.
It's that simple.
Her ceiling on the mic is okay. And she's usually closer to the floor than the ceiling. I did like her talking about her friends, Matthew, Nicholas Jackson, aligning, not so much aligning in with the elite, but hey, I'm friends with the guys you hate. And I did like her line about calling herself the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be in Calgary. But the delivery could have been a million times better to really drive that home.
Exactly, right? It's not Jamie loves the saying, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing, right?
Yeah. And
that's just what it feels like. It's like, she can do it. Just have her just fully do it. And to do it, use half the words.
Yeah, and the whole thing, I got security, so no one will interrupt, and then doing the kind of
she throws one punch, one super kick, and then everybody just moves aside.
Yeah, it's her doing the chicken shit thing and running away from Britt, but not really presenting herself as a chicken shit heel in the true classic fashion. That it's dial that in. Figure out what kind of heel you want to be and be that, but there's just no consistency there. And yeah, it's just not hitting.
I think that people started to turn on her. Now you made her a heel, so there's that. But you got to choose a lane because people are jumping off of the ship. They're not just having Mercedes Moné there isn't good enough, Tony. Right?
Yeah.
It was for
Nor
the first.
should it be. Like, you still got to do things.
Yeah, it was for the first month or so because it's like whatever, right? But now it's like, especially when you have other stuff out there. I mean, look at Stephanie Vaquer. Like Stephanie Vaquer got over so much of that match and got her a WWE contract because of it, right? That wasn't because of Mercedes Moné, right? But she can still do the stuff in the ring that we know she can do. So you've got enough people there that have enough experience. People that worked with her back in the Fed, right? Jeff Jarrett's there, for God's sake. Jeff Jarrett can tell her how to do this in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
What are we doing? So.
Yeah. Like, just make it better. Like, I don't know a better way to put that. Just
make it better. The story of the night. All right. I'll make it better by giving you the women's Owen Hart final for the main event. Okay. So, super over Willow Nightingale, Mariah May. First of all, what'd you think of the match?
I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I thought especially Mariah May winning clean, catching the pin. Yeah, like not squeaky clean, but like clean enough. I think they've done a good job since her debut earlier this year of slowly building her up. Because we saw her eat some clean losses earlier on. We've seen her through the tournament kind of like luck her way into some wins. But a mostly clean win over Willow is a great way to set her up to challenge Toni. I thought the match was great.
I like that the run-in by Stokely and Stat didn't have like a final, like an immediate, result on the match.
Yeah.
It was influenced for sure, but it wasn't like a immediate, she comes in and gets a pin right after, right? So that's why I say mostly clean, right?
Yeah.
And I also
say clean just because it wasn't Toni and Luther like cheating for her. It was just
right.
Willow's bit. Yeah.
Right. And I think that Mariah did a good job tonight selling kind of her as the underdog in this, right? We've familiar with her work in Japan. We know we've seen her do other matches. She's got the chops, but she has several points in the night where she looked like the younger of the two, right? Talent-wise, some of the moves that she was doing there, and maybe a little bit just attributed to, hate to say it like this, but Willow's size. Some of the moves that Mariah does, when you're doing on somebody that's twice as big as you, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
If you're not like you don't have not everybody has Claudio Castagnoli strength, so and because of that, I think it gave a good presentation of Mariah as the underdog, which she should have been technically. Okay. Of course, they win. They're happy. They run upstairs or up the ramp to get the belt. And as far as heel turns go, this was outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, immediate and vicious. And just like somebody heel turns is like, oh, I'm a heel now. Boo. And they run away, right? No. She bloodied her up. She beat the shit out of Luther. Hit him twice at the belt, then punted his balls halfway to Edmonton. I mean, there was no
through a table.
There was no knee slapping on that ball kick. That was straight like, shit, dude. And then threw him through the table and continued to beat the living fuck out of her. Give it to me. Come on. I loved every second of this. What did you think?
I loved it. I did not expect that to happen tonight.
Okay, touche.
I figured you were going to turn one of them leading into All In.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more likely to be Mariah than Toni because the crowd's really gotten behind Toni. So why step on all that? But still having 7 weeks for then, I figured there would be some time before you got there. I also thought going into the match, there was a non-zero chance Willow might win.
Absolutely.
Especially after Danielson pulled it out earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The way they've just been kind of changing what you expect, which was great because Danielson winning earlier, kind of going into the main event. Now you're thinking like, okay, this could actually
Mariah have to win. I mean, it could be.
Yeah. But I thought that the heel turn was executed perfectly. It was vicious. It was also like the perfect amount of time because we just saw a big heel turn to close out Dynamite last week that went a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was phenomenal. And that, like, what a way to now make that match at All In feel even bigger and to give yourself plenty of time to tell this story leading into All In.
Yeah. I generally thought they were going to do kind of this like middle of the road for both of them sort of bit, right? Where Toni falls out with her because she just wants her own opportunity and all this stuff. Like, no, they went full in. And what it really does is it cements Toni as the top face. 100% now.
Absolutely. Because I thought there was even a chance that you wouldn't get the turn until All In and you would have Mariah May cheat to win the title.
Right. Which would be worst case scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think that'd be the best way to do it, but it was certainly a possibility. The best part about this, too, was the way Mariah May executed this. Oh. She made you believe that she's been playing this for a long time, and you felt like she despises Toni Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's not always easy to do. Like the facial expressions, the intensity, and all that. It immediately got you just brought in on this, like, oh shit.
Hook, line, and sinker. I'm with it. So,
yeah.
Oh, well, that was Dynamite, the Owen Hart Tournament.
We did miss one little thing before the main.
What was that? Oh, yeah.
They came back from the commercial break to Brandon Cutler getting his ass beat and a returned Darby Allin, who last time we saw him, he was hanging like a pinata getting his ass beat by the Elite. He is joining Team AEW.
Oh, yeah. So that, I mean, just announce the Acclaim to get it over with so you can have 5, so we know who because it's 2 weeks away. So,
but who's the 5th for the Elite?
Well, the 5th for Elite's going to be, they even announced it on the graphic that the Elite confirmed is Hangman.
Yeah, but you got Hangman, the Bucks, and Okada. Oh, Jungle Boy. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
Jack Perry. Okay,
Jack Perry.
I forgot about my man JP.
The TNT champion, Jack Perry.
Which, really quick, did you see Marco Stunt come back on Collision and Jack Perry lawn dart him into the second?
No, I didn't catch Collision. I'm gonna go watch that just because I love me some Marco, and that's good storytelling right there.
I found the clip. Yeah, I guess Jack Perry did an open challenge. Marco Stunt showed up, which was great callback.
Fantastic.
But he did the spot where he just runs and lawn darts him into the turnbuckle. And it looked like he killed Marco Stunt.
Oh my God, Marco, because he's so tiny. It was like the moves that could be done on him were outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks. We got Blood and Guts. We're about 7 weeks-ish, out from 6.5, something like that, 7 from All In. So for All In, you got the men's title match, Danielson versus Swerve. You got the women's title match of Toni versus Mariah. Presumably, you're going to have the international title match against Pac. If I had a betting man, I'd say you're going to have the Bucks versus the Acclaimed. It's everything but even written down, but you're going to have the TBS title of Mercedes versus Britt. So the card's coming together.
I would say I would bet if I had to put money on it, I would say we don't get the Bucks and the Acclaimed at All In.
I hope not, honestly.
I think this story is going to run its course by Blood and Guts. If not, well, they still got to get their tag title match. I think it'll happen before All In. I think you need something a little bit bigger for All In.
Do you think Are you talking like for the Bucks or for like
For
the
the
Elite?
Bucks.
Because I can see them putting the Elite in like another big old match type of thing, right? That feels
Yeah,
like a
I
good
mean,
cop out, but not
they
a bad
could, because
cop-out.
what do you do with Hanger at All In?
Right. You haven't really set any storyline up for Jack since he won the title. Now you're 7 weeks out. You got plenty of time to set those things up.
Yeah,
But
you've got time.
But you got the next 2 weeks. You're focused on blood and guts for everybody that's in the Elite. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see another like how about a stadium stampede in Wembley Stadium?
That would be good.
That would be amazing.
Although then in the course of like 4 months, we would have gotten the Elite in Anarchy in the Arena, Blood and Guts, and then Stadium Stampede. Although
You're not wrong.
It wouldn't be bad.
It would be a little one string band.
We're probably gonna get Darby and Jack Perry at All In.
That makes the most sense, I would say. Yeah.
That makes the most sense.
Absolutely.
But then what do you do with Okada? Or do you get Okada and Hanger at All In? Because they had tonight when Hanger walked up to the
Okada and him. Okada was not letting him pass, and
there was that little bit of tension.
Maybe. I mean, Hanger isn't officially a member of the Elite.
No, he only joined after Swerve said he was in.
Yeah,
which that's good storytelling.
I think at the end of the day is like his story is with Swerve. It was the best story they've told for him. It's still got many legs on it. Like we talked about when it happened. That's, the Rock Stone Cold. You could run that back however many times after however long a period, and it didn't matter. It was always fantastic. Same thing with him. So I don't know. I feel like after Blood and Guts we'll have a little more clarity, but I don't really think it really needs much. I think that because those matches we already talked about that are confirmed or basically confirmed, right? And you're going to have MJF in something as well. If MJF doesn't win the title next week from Will, he's got to be in something, right?
Probably Daniel Garcia.
I would actually like to see him and Daniel Garcia. I think that'd be fantastic. The way that he sold it, that there's no chance he was going to give him a shot at, I wouldn't mind seeing Daniel Garcia cost him the match next week, and that's what goats him into giving him the all-in match.
You know what I'd like to see for Okada at All In? And there's nothing going on that would make me think this is going to happen.
Hey, Fancy Booking Island, let's go.
Give me Okada and Joe at All In.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
Why not? Okada's got a title, so that's always an easy way to set something up on fairly short notice, is throw an eliminator match out there, a contenders match out there, and someone can just earn the opportunity to wrestle Okada. Give me Joe and Okada at All In. That seems like a match that would fit Wembley Stadium.
I mean, Jericho and the Elite are aligned, right? It's Jericho's whim that goes through the Elite that he keeps getting Taz banned. So there's a string there. There's a string that connects it. So yeah, let's do that.
I don't know if they'll get there, but that seems a match fitting of Wembley Stadium.
It does, and that's almost a bucket list match, right? Because I don't think they've ever fought. Okada did come over a few times when they were having New Japan had a joint events with TNA like back in the day,
Yeah.
So
if it has happened, it hasn't happened in a long time.
If it has happened, I don't remember if it did or not. I just know that he did appear in a few matches in TNA back in the day pre-Hogan. So
yeah.
Oh, well, you guys let us know what you think. So that's in a couple weeks of Blood and Guts. We got, like I said, about 7 weeks out. If you're not doing anything this Friday and you live in Kansas City, it is the latest installment of Fountain City Pro and Justice for All. Austin has not confirmed or denied if he is going to be there or not, but we do know his young boy is Tommy Too Good is on the card. So
yeah, my man T2G and the Guy Snacks Invitational.
get that tasty mix. So tickets are still available if you can buy tickets to the door. It is the Ball Event Center. Is it Bell? It's Bell. I keep saying Ball. I don't know why.
I think it is Ball.
Is it Ball?
I'm pretty sure it's Ball.
It's Ball. The Ball Event Center, 151st and I-35 over by Olathe Medical Center, for those of you familiar with Kansas City. Doors are at 6, first bell's at 7. It's going to be a great time. It's not going to be too unbearably hot yet, but they're air conditioned. A wrestling place in air conditioning.
They're few and far between, but that's one of them.
It's not common, So come join us this Saturday. We're not doing the pre-show. If you want to check out the pre-show, our friend Mark, who is the ring announcer for Journey City Pro, he's doing the pre-show for them this time on their YouTube and on their Facebook page. You have to check out Fountain City Pro. But me and Jamie will be there. Maybe Austin will be there. He hasn't confirmed or denied anything, but.
Might swing by. We'll see. It's not too far from Wichita.
Yeah, it's only a couple hours. You'll be fine.
Or I'm gonna do the from beyond the mat, the Dennis Stamp. I'm just gonna be bouncing on a trampoline in my backyard. Like, I'm not booked. I'm not going.
But we do link down below for Fountain City Pros, all their stuff. Go check them out. Like I said, the good friends of ours. It'll be a good time. Come join us for some pro wrestling in Kansas City. All right, well. That's all we got. I didn't prepare you for this, but you got to do Jamie's outro. So
I guess I do.
Yeah.
I do.
While you prepare for it here momentarily, I do want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, everybody. We do appreciate you joining us, giving us some of your time. Again, if it's your first time here, we'd love to see you back. Hit the follow button down below. Hit the like, give us a big thumbs up. It helps out quite a bit. You can always hit us up on socials at Total Spotfest, or just leave a comment down below. But thank you. Austin, take us home, man.
And if you're not down with that, I got 5 words for you. More Jeff Jarrett on Dynamite.
Very good. Very good job. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Later.